This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore! Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Welcome to the Monday Night Raw review here on the WWE Podcast. It is Tuesday, May 14th, 2024. We're going to get into Monday Night Raw. And really, what can I say about Raw? It was the most wrestling-heavy Raw I've seen in quite a while. I don't think I've seen a larger focus on the King of the Ring tournament than I have this year. And that's not a complaint. I'm just not used to it. It's usually a side project. It's this other thing going on, but pay attention to the main story. This King of the Ring thing's going on, or Queen of the Ring now. But my God, and maybe it's because I saw the Hulu version of Raw, and now I know what happened beyond Hulu, but I watched the Hulu version like many of you do, and if you did, I mean, I don't think we're used to this much wrestling on a wrestling show. Usually it's a lot of talking. You know, like 20 minutes of talking to set up a 5-minute match. You do backstage segments, you get through recaps and interviews and all that. This felt like one after the other, and they had a lot of matches to get through. So understandably, this was a wrestling heavy show. They have a lot to get through. There was some live event consequential matches, which is not something you see very often. And now we're down to the quarterfinals, semifinals. And then next week we have a big matchup between Gunther and Jey Uso, and that'll determine who's in the finals. And when you look on the other side of the bracket, we'll get a lot of answers this coming Friday on SmackDown. It could come down to Gunther. It could come down to Jey Uso in the finals. We also have Tama Tonga still in it. We have LA Knight still in it. I mean, there could be maybe a Gunther LA Knight showdown. That's very possible. LA Knight and Jey Uso. I mean, Tama Tonga and Jey. I mean, there's Tama Tonga and Jey Uso. How about that for a final? There's a lot of interesting men left in the bracket, and for the women, there's still some out there as well. There's, we can look at the bracket as we get deeper into Raw and talk about the winners and losers of each match. But here's the question that I have: is what is this all going to mean? They've done a lot of promotion, and credit to them. And you know what? They've even done promotional video packages for the matches of the actual tournament. And I don't know if you guys caught that. It's another production change from the Kevin Dunn, Vince McMahon era to a more sports-based, reality-based coverage of pro wrestling. They have reviews of each match, even the matches you don't think that they would even cover. They make you feel like it matters for the match you're about to see. It's just little things like that where fans are conditioned to usually look at a match and go, who cares? And a video package can get you excited pretty quickly. The magic of video editing is, can't be understated. So I appreciate that. And again, but what is this all going to mean? Whoever the respective winners are, the men and the women's side, what is this all going to mean ultimately? Is it ultimately going to mean that the prospective winners are going to act like court jesters for the next 12 weeks? Do we get court jesters again that we get every single time? I would hope not. And you know what else I would like to see changed up a bit? A baby face to win once in a while. I understand, just like Money in the Bank, that this is a heel prize to win. Because with King of the Ring, and Queen of the Ring now, we don't call it Queen's Crown, thank God. It is a very much it's something you put on your resume that you can brag about, but there's no real accomplishment here outside of you get to wear a crown and play pretend for a while. So if there's some kind of ultimate prize, some kind of ultimate destination that the WWE wants the man and the woman who win the tournament to get to, then I'm all for it. if this is just some tournament to crown a winner for both sexes, but there's no ultimate goal, I'm off board. We'll see. We'll see what Paul Levesque comes up with and what ultimately this is going to mean. So in the meantime, though, this is a lot of wrestling, as I've said, and we're going to get into the matches in just a minute, but I want to welcome a brand new patron who just joined, actually, as I'm recording this, and this is Mike Lowry. Welcome to the Patreon side of things. Welcome to the ad-free side of things. I hope you enjoy it. We're going to be doing a lot more stuff in the near future, more video. Okay, I know haven't done a ton of that video stuff. We're going to get back into that a little bit more because it's been lacking, especially for those on the upper tiers. So join us on patreon.com/WWE podcast for all of your ad-free needs, or Apple. Apple does offer a 7-day free trial as well as Patreon, but you don't have to leave the Apple Podcast app. You can subscribe there for free for 7 days, and then if you like us, stick with us, and you can get everything ad-free. Or they offer a year for 2 months for free. So if you go with the yearly option, there's that option does allow you to pay for a year's worth of audio, but you get, well, you pay for 10 months, but get 12 months, if that makes sense. All right. Let's get to a little bit more of Monday Night Raw, into the detail here, into the nitty gritty. And we did have Monday Night Raw open with the footage of Gunther and Kofi Kingston arriving separately. Again, this is in Greenville, South Carolina. I think they mentioned that once, but it's so funny when they're in a big city versus a small city. You know, they say it once, or maybe not at all. They just mention the state, not the city, or they're in the shadow of X city or whatever. But they did mention it here a little bit. I think Drew did, but they're doing a lot of the footage of the stars arriving to the arena. And I generally enjoy it. I think it's something that was never done before, at least not on a consistent basis. And you know what it does? It humanizes all of the wrestlers. Because if you go to wrestling events, even if you just watch them from home every week, it's almost as if they just magically appear. You know, like, you don't think about the travel. You don't think about them arriving. I mean, who the hell thinks about them walking into the building every week? You know, that little thing, it humanizes the experience. For me, I like it. You know, I don't need to see people's dogs, you know what I'm referencing, come to the arena, right? Or, you know, I think Jey Uso brought his kid this week, which was kind of cool. But generally, I think it's something that it feels like you're seeing footage that you shouldn't see, that it's like exclusive, that they arrived to the arena. Because, like, who's filming them arriving to the arena purposefully, you know? I like it. So I don't need to see everyone arrive to the arena, but those that they have a plan for that night, it may be a good idea. And I like this here. So we got, let's see, McIntyre coming to the ring, and there were Punk chants, and he said that maybe if they were in Atlanta or Charlotte, that only Punk makes the big towns, and he won't show up in Greenville, which is, I mean, there is some truth to that. McIntyre brought up the line about the greatest trick the devil played was convincing the world he doesn't exist. McIntyre said Punk looks like a drug addict, even though he's never done drugs, and that if you're a CM Punk fan, then you're stupid. That was good. I mean, even though it's elementary insults, it still works with Drew. The best part of his character, as I continue to say, is he is the hero of his own story. Is just continuing to be brilliant. And he goes on to talk about accusing Adam Pearce of giving Punk inside scoops regarding his schedule. And McIntyre said he'll get his hands on Punk, and then Punk will beg him to tear his tricep. Until then, McIntyre said he wouldn't waste his time on a guy that won't be cleared for 20 years, and said his target is the World Heavyweight Championship and that, quote, paper champion Damien Priest. And then Damien Priest comes out and by himself. And he said that McIntyre had serious issues, and that, McIntyre said Priest deserves all the success in the world. He just doesn't deserve to be world champion. And McIntyre said it's a case of the title making the man. And McIntyre labeled it the Raw title and said it needs him in its infancy. And Priest called McIntyre delusional, and he said he blames everyone else for his failures. And Priest told him to find a mirror and blame that guy. And then Priest said McIntyre just had to grab his wife's hand after winning the title and go enjoy his moment, but he saw Punk and made him more important than himself, the championship, and his wife. And then Priest mocked McIntyre for getting his ass whooped by a one-armed man. And Priest said McIntyre could call him a paper champion all he wants, but he'll eat those words once he's finished with him. You know, this did not come off heelish to me with Priest. Priest feels very much like he's making a subtle turn of sorts towards babyface. He doesn't ask for a lot of help. He continually turns down help. He confronted McIntyre on his own, who admittedly is also a heel, so you don't have too many heel interactions to open the show. I can't remember many in the last several months where it's heel that opens the show. But if I were to guess, it seems like Priest is turning babyface. Now, that said, don't forget where we're going for the next PLE. You know, in June, guess where we're going? Scotland. All right. There's zero chance of Drew getting booed there. So maybe Drew just for a night is a babyface, but in the overall story, it's Damien that's turning. So no matter what they do, they're not going to get Drew booed in Scotland. It ain't going to happen, right? But for a night, he'll be the hometown hero. But I get babyface vibes from Damien. And it's a lot of online criticism that's being brought into the story here of Damien being a transitional champion. He's a paper champion. He's not making the belt. The belt's making him. And there's, you know what? There's a lot of truth, at least a sliver of, I shouldn't say a lot. There's a sliver of truth in all of those claims. Is Damien ready to be world champion? I think many people felt not really, not quite yet. Do most of us, I think, believe that the belt should make the man or the man should make the belt? I think most of us would say that the man should make the belt. You know, the guy holding it should be the one to add value to whatever he's holding. And does it feel like Damien's helping the world title? Not really. I mean, you go from Seth Rollins to Damien Priest, who admittedly has been on the ascent steadily for the last year and a half to 2 years. It still feels like a big drop from Seth to him, but not a gigantic drop. Significant, but not gigantic. But Damien is starting to come into his own. You know, he cuts good promos. He's good in the ring. He's good in backstage. He's good as the de facto leader of the Judgment Day. Even though they say they don't have a leader, they kind of do. But is just good enough? Do they really have a long-term plan for Damien to hold that belt longer than, you know, the presumed match in Scotland? I don't know. I would think probably, because I think you're going to have Punk screw Drew in Scotland, because you can't have, and here's the thing. Here's what's going to get interesting. It's in Scotland. So no matter what, Drew could murder someone on the air. I mean, he could literally kill someone's grandma on the air. Live, in person. Just grab some old lady and just, choke her out in the ring. I know I'm getting a little bit extreme and dramatic, but there's nothing they can do to get the crowd to boo Drew in Scotland, right? We've established that. So if you have Punk screw Drew McIntyre over again in his presumed match in Scotland in June, then you're going to have CM Punk booed in Scotland. I mean, so if they can take that for a night, then fine. But maybe they have Punk avoid Drew at all costs in that arena, so they don't even have an option of getting Punk booed. It's just something I've been thinking about with Scotland looming and Drew in the on a great heel run. Going to Scotland and turning babyface for a night may not be the worst thing. But does WWE care enough on a PLE stage to reverse the roles of Punk getting booed for a night while McIntyre gets cheered? Damien gets booed, which he's been getting booed anyway. So there could be a little bit of a reversal of roles in that respect. We'll have to see how it all plays out, but I don't even know if it's going to take till June for Punk to get cleared. It could. It seems like he is maybe that. Maybe it's already halfway through May. I thought it was, for some reason, I thought it was like April or something. No, so, maybe it is. Maybe that's how they do it. But all right. We then get Io Sky versus Shayna Baszler in a Queen of the Ring quarterfinal match. This was a pleasure, and bringing back the rivalry between Baszler and Io Sky was a nice reminder, especially for those that weren't aware or forgot, like myself. And you didn't just remember how good Shayna Baszler is, but you really looked at Io Sky and said, "Hey, where the hell was this during her 6 to 8, 9 month run when she was invisible on SmackDown? Where the hell was this?" To me, and I said this on the WrestleMania review a little over a month, 5-6 weeks ago. Io Sky had her best night as champion the night she lost it. She had one of the best matches of WrestleMania with her and Bayley. It was awesome, to pun a overused chant. And it was, though. And I'm like sitting there going, really? You waited until her last night as champion to show us what she can do here? And I'm sure Io, if you gave her truth serum, would be like, yeah, see, I mean, that's been in the tank the whole time. They just never let me get it out. And Io Sky here with Shayna Baszler did a nice job. With the right person winning. I know that a lot of people thought this could be the rebirth of Shayna Baszler. And it ended up not being that, but you know what? I want to say just Queen of the Ring, but title's not on the line here. It's more of a bragging right type of prize at the end of this. But they had a nice match, physical. Io Sky's over the moonsault is beautiful to watch, and I just generally really like this. And I put out a tweet on X. Again, do they still call it tweets on X, or is it a post on X? I put on X that can we all remember how effing good Io Sky is? Because she is really good. And I could see, and you're starting to hear the crowd a bit start to turn in favor of Io. I don't believe, was Damage Control out there? I don't think they were. If they were minimal in the matchup. But forced to choose, the crowd's going to choose Io Sky over Shayna Baszler, and I think that there could be something there with an Io Sky babyface turn, that she ends up turning on the group or just leaving the group or whatever, because you're not going to turn the whole Damage Control group babyface. You're not going to do it. Io Sky, though, through her work rate, through how damn good she is in the ring, and yes, you can overcome the language barriers. We know the formula now. We know the antidote, and it is Shinsuke Nakamura and his promo style. So that's no longer really as big of an issue as it had been in the past. So there's really no excuse here now to continue to move Io Sky in whatever direction they want. They could continue with her as a heel, but every time you watch her, even for like just a few minutes, you're going, oh, wow. Yeah, this is she's just butter smooth. She's more athletic than you give her credit for on face value. She's and her I like her entrance music too. So I don't know. I'm just really starting to become more and more every week a bigger advocate of Io Sky. So Carlito continues to try to infiltrate himself into the Judgment Day group. Damien Priest was really, he kind of had a funny line where Carlito goes, I get it. You don't trust me. And you're thinking that, Damien's going to have this long response to that, and of why. And he just looks at Carlito and goes, nope. He's like, nope. I don't trust you. It was funny. Damien Priest is becoming more likable, and I don't know if that's by design or not. As I've said in the open with Drew McIntyre, I don't know if it's by design, but I'm getting more babyface vibes from him. And Carlito trying to infiltrate the group with the old logic of you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, is starting to, while we had Damien initially say no, things that happen later in the show is starting to, I think, change his mind a bit. And we'll see I don't know what the ultimate thing is for Carlito, what the ultimate goal is for Carlito. I know that he is got some unfinished business with the LWO, and that's going to be a thing, and Judgment Day is going to get involved with the LWO, and so maybe that's what it is. But at least Carlito is there, and he's doing something much more significant than he had since his re-debut. He even lost his mustache and gave it to Dom. So Dom stole his mustache, and I don't know when he's going to get it back. So there is that. So, alrighty, we let's see, get more video packages of the King of the Ring opening round matches that set up Kofi versus Gunther, and we then have let's see, Gunther versus Kofi Kingston in a King of the Ring quarterfinal. Some nice promo for this, a nice kind of small build to this, and this match even over-delivered. I think it was 14 minutes, just under 14 minutes. And there were some nice moves, or a nice false finishes in here with Trouble in Paradise, the near count out of both men. Eventually, Gunther hit a power bomb and made him submit to a Boston Crab. So I like that Gunther is starting to expand his finishing arsenal. That it's not just the power bomb, which I also really enjoy as a finish that's been brought back as a finish. But the Boston Crab that has forever been used as a submission move that no one's ever going to really tap out to. And yes, there's been variations like the Lion Tamer, right, with Chris Jericho, that have been used more as a submission finish. But I like the Boston Crab. I mean, just old school. Here's what I like about Gunther. His moves, the moves he uses as finishes, are a lot of what the men and women use as just part of the match, right? It's just part of the match, and Gunther uses it as a finish. He's old school, basic. Boston Crab, basic maneuver. Powerbomb, basic maneuver. Both of them being used as finishing maneuvers. It just fits his character perfectly, and I like how Kofi tapped here, not because I hate the Kofi character, perhaps on the same level as the babyface character of Cody Rhodes, which always brings a tear of joy to my eye to see either of those men lose. I think that, again, having him tap is a different type of defeat or victory, depending on which side you're looking at, because it's more definitive to me. Having someone voluntarily quit, which is what you're doing, is more definitive and more humiliating than just being knocked out for a 1-2-3, I think. So, again, Gunther now is going to be facing the winner, and we all know who it is now, but Dragunov versus Jay in next week's semifinal match. That we all know who won there, but we'll get to that in a minute. All right. We got... Let's see. Moving on. There's a lot of filler, guys. I'm reading through a complete rundown of Raw, and I don't want to go through every little backstage segment with Adam Pearce and the tag team title situation. And it's going to be a fatal 4-way. I go, okay. I'm not going to go through every little thing, just so you know. But Bronson Reed versus Akira Tozawa. This is embarrassingly quick, as expected, with Bronson Reed beating Akira Tozawa in 1 minute and 15 seconds. We got, I know there was hang on, I saw it in the description here and I somehow missed it. Oh, the Chad Gable speaking with Maxine, Otis, and Akira Tozawa backstage. Gable said Dupree blew her opportunity and embarrassed Alpha Academy. Gable announced that Otis would face Sami Zayn. He said he didn't want wouldn't want funny man Otis because he needed him to soften up Zayn for his IC title match. And Gable told Tozawa he would face Bronson Reed and warned him not to blow it or do his dance. So, okay, admittedly, I didn't see this, but I can picture it in my mind. I appreciate that they're continuing with this. Maybe there's more of a payoff coming. There wasn't, ever since Chad went heel and berated his team, and then also asked for their allegiance, which was just a perfect SOB thing to do. And you're thinking, oh, here we go. They're going to make this a big thing on Raw every week. And now it's just been kind of pushed to the backstage, quick mention, small push forward for the Alpha Academy. And it's not a forgotten story. I just was hoping at this point things would have been a little bit more pushed, a little bit more ahead than it is now. But they still got time. And it all comes down to when do they want to turn Otis? Because I think Otis is going to turn on Gable at some point. Maxine is certainly going to turn on him, slap him, probably kick him in the nuts. But Akira Tozawa is going to get beat down next week. And then he's going to probably ask Otis to do something he doesn't want to do. Otis is going to hesitate while maybe Chad Gable berates him and forces him to do it, that kind of thing. So, alrighty. After the Akira Tozawa match, we got more. I think at some point, I forget what match it was. It might have been a women's match. Another QR code. I'm not following them. I know a lot of you are. I didn't. So you can continue to just let me know what those QR codes say. Probably some creepy stuff. Very Bray Wyatt-ish. It has to be the re-debut of Bo Dallas in some form or fashion. I don't know what else or who else it could be. But let's move on. Lyra Valkyria. Did I get that right finally? I don't know why I can't pronounce her name. Lyra Valkyria versus Zoe Stark in a Queen of the Ring quarterfinal match. Physical. Was this predictable? Not really. I mean, you could see both of these women winning. Zoe Starks was, at one point you were thinking, oh my, she's going to be a big star. She's with Trish Stratus. Then she kind of disappears for a while and doesn't talk. Gets no mic time, little in-ring time. You're thinking, oh boy. And then she has a couple of good matches. And you're like, all right, here we go. And then they pull the rug out from underneath her again because Valkyria is the one to get the victory here in 9 minutes after hitting the Nightwing and getting the victory. So we then had Jackie Redmond come in the ring and spoke of Valkyria, who asked if Redmond wanted to know why she's so confident. Valkyria then spoke in Gaelic and then said everyone would find out what that means. She said she's a former NXT Women's Champion and she only travels as the crow flies straight to the top. The match was fine. I don't know what the hell any of this means for Valkyria. I'm never a proponent of speaking in another language to your audience that is a mainly English-speaking audience. Obviously, there are portions of this audience, even those of you that listen to the show, that are bilingual or maybe even more. That I know what you're talking about. I know more than English. I know Spanish. I know French. I know German. That's all great, but the facts are the facts. I mean, the majority of your audience is English, and whenever you have a wrestler speak in a different tongue, especially Gaelic, I couldn't even tell you one word from that language. So, anyway, so moving on. But going to the IC champion, Sami Zayn versus Otis in a non-title match. We got Sami Zayn beating Otis in 2 minutes. And this was a pretty, again, quick match, as I said, but we got Otis going for the worm, and Gable climbed into the ring apron and told him not to do it. And then Otis hit the move anyway, and Gable then barked at Otis to perform his finish. Otis went for it. Zayn moved, hit the hoover kick, and got the victory. After the match, Gable yelled at Otis, shoved the side of his head, and Zayn returned to the ring and gave Gable an exploder suplex, and then Zayn set up for his finish, but Gable avoided it, which I like. And then Otis tried to drag Gable away, and Gable stopped him. Gable told Otis that it was his fault and then slapped him. Oh, I love this. As I said, it's continuing to see how far you can push the big man before he turns. And again, I'm telling you, next week he's probably going to tell Otis to destroy Akira Tozawa for his loss and bark orders at him, and we'll see how far he can get pushed. Okay, we then had Braun Strowman wish that the Creed brothers wish them luck. Ivan Niles stood by, and then J.D. McDonough showed up and told Strowman to consider himself warned about sticking his nose in the Judgment Day's business, and then Strowman laughed. So I honestly, and I'm not even kidding you, I forgot that Strowman even returned. I wasn't on Raw going, Oh, that's right. I didn't even think about it. It didn't even cross my mind. And again, nothing against the big man, who is, again, I will sing his praises when it comes to his ability and what he should and shouldn't be able to do. He's got a great look, all of it. But his character is not engaging. It's very one-dimensional. Just is. Sorry, Braun. It just is. Now, you've been able to make a great living on that one dimension of being a big monster and doing choo-choo train noises around the ring. And that's all fine and well. But while you're playing Thomas the Tank Engine, the rest of us are going, is there more to this character? Is there more? We'll find out. But right now, he's just backstage wishing everybody good luck. I think he did it to Ricochet last week. And now he's getting paid to just wish people luck backstage. I mean, I'm sure they have bigger plans, obviously, with the Judgment Day, but right now, Braun Strowman, I didn't even think about him. I don't think he was even in my subconscious at all. Like, he wasn't even in my subconscious. That's how uninterested I am at the moment, subject to change, of course, with Braun Strowman. Okay. We got the Women's World Champion, Becky Lynch versus Dakota Kai. And Sane held up a King Coda fan sign at ringside, which was kind of cool. And we got Becky Lynch beating Dakota Kai in 10 minutes by DQ, though, because we had Sky and Sane run in and attack Lynch for the DQ finish. But after the match, we got Sky and Sane, who were continuing to beat up Lynch. Lyra Valkyria ran out, made the save. And then Liv Morgan from behind hit Lynch into the ring post. And I'm really enjoying Liv. I know she didn't have a massive impact this week in terms of a promo or whatever. I mean, she just had this one moment, but it was effective. And I like what Liv has to offer over the last month or so. Yes, I was critical of her silly sounding revenge tour initially. Yes, I was. But I think it has developed into a logical story. Liv has found her voice. She's found her confidence, which I think we're both missing for the first, the majority of her career up until just lately. So I'm looking forward to a Liv Becky Lynch showdown. All right. We then have Finn Balor and JD versus Julius Creed, or the Creed brothers versus the New Catch Republic versus the AOP. And it was for a shot at the World Tag Team titles. Now, this was made by Adam Pearce earlier, who was talking about, it's a new era. Which means new opportunities. He was just like inspired by this. Very, very happy with himself. Very impressed. And it was a good match. Now, did the right team win of having Finn and JD beat the Creed brothers and everyone else? I mean, I guess, but now you're going to have potentially, and maybe even, dare I say, likely, the Judgment Day take back the World Tag Team titles that they just lost to Truth and Miz, who really, by the way, I know they appeared on Raw backstage a little bit. They haven't done a ton with those titles, and to be fair, I don't think a lot of us expected a long title reign anyway. So, I mean, I guess putting it back on the Judgment Day wouldn't be the worst thing, but at some point, you're going to have to bring in some new blood into the World Tag Team title match and title scene, meaning if you're going to transfer the belts, to me, who I'd make champion, Creed brothers, man. I really would. Now, I would do a little more character development before that, but the crowd is behind them. The crowd sees the ability of these two men who are just pure athletes, and they respect that. And they put on a hell of a show. They're no nonsense. They're simple. They're trunks. They're ring attire. It's all simple. It's not flashy. They're very basic. But the crowd is connecting with them. And I think if they do a little bit of groundwork with personality pre-taped promos. If they're not good at promos, you could do those, again, video packages. I mean, there's a lot you can do. Even a brief in-ring promo, live one if they dare. But they need a little bit of that, and that's how I would do it. But clearly they have other plans. I still don't understand how just by the mere number of people in a match somehow dictates whether it's disqualification or not. Still makes absolutely no sense to me. Oh, it's triple threat. Oh, there's 3 people, not 2. Oh, well, there's no rules. Wait a minute. It's a tag team match, but you're saying there's more than one team? Oh, no rules. I mean, it's insane. It's insane. Now, you guys know I had to complain about something. Well, here it is. It's a complaint I've had forever if you've listened to the show for any length of time. Now, someone might say, well, they do that because how is it fair to the team that wasn't involved to lose the match if someone interferes? Well, here's what you do. Here's what you do. Okay? Someone interferes. You have a couple options. All right? You could restart the match and ban that person from the arena. You could have if someone was shown behind an attack, that team is now gone from the match, right? You could take that team out of the match if they are the reason why they're, it doesn't even have to be a third party. You could have weapons be used, right? The team that is using the weapons gets disqualified. They're out of the match. Now it's just a one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's ways to get around it, and they just refuse it. And it's silly to go, oh, it depends on how many people are involved. If there's more people, there's less rules. I don't get it. All right. We have next week's Raw being hyped. So here's next week's Raw in a nutshell before we get to the main event. Sammy versus Chad Gable in a non-title match. Lyra Valkyria versus Io Sky in a Queen of the Ring semifinal match. Gunther versus Jey Uso in a King of the Ring semifinal match. So some big matchups next week. Sounds like we're going to get more of the same with a lot more wrestling. No complaints here. And then we get Jey Uso coming out for the main event. And it was a 13-minute main event with Jey Uso beating Dragunov to advance to the semifinals. And this match did, like I think one or two others, get a "This is awesome" chant. Dragunov clearly has it. Now, there are many people that are not happy with this decision, given Dragunov just came up. He was on a bit of a mini winning streak. You wanted to get some momentum. I would say even in a loss here, here's where I would argue against wins and losses having meaning. When you just come up from NXT, it is not expected you're going to shoot to the main event and become champion and beat everyone on the roster. Therefore, if you go to the main event and you lose, the fact that you were in the main event at all, I think, speaks volumes to where WWE views you in the future. So yeah, he lost the match, but you know what people are going to remember? They're going to remember that Dragunov was in the main event of Raw, and remember this is how good he is in the ring, because I think he really is that good. And Jey Uso, to his credit, did a nice job as well, as he always does. Again, the super kicks are horrendous at this point. I would ban them from Jey Uso's arsenal. But he hit a spear and hit his splash. I like that. Jey Uso has really done a nice job of mimicking Roman Reigns' spear. A lot of intensity. It's like a mid-air collision. It's not like a Goldberg collision. It's a nice, just athletic spear. Like, just well done. And then the splash to get the victory. And Jey Uso advances. Now it's Jey Uso versus Gunther. We'll have to see how the rest of the bracket plays out on Friday before we can figure out, well, Jey will probably win. Well, I don't know, Gunther, right? So we'll see who advances on Friday to get more of an idea of who is likely to lean the victor on Raw next week. So, again, very good wrestling. A lot of wrestling. If you're used to the the pomp and circumstance, the promos, the backstage bits, the skits. This was probably not the show for you. Now, we got some of that. We did get a little bit of that. But the majority of the show was, you guessed it, professional wrestling, dare I say. And I think this was a nice focus on the King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring. And can anybody, honestly, tell me the last time WWE took the tournaments this serious? Even just, I know the Queen of the Ring has, actually, this may be the very first Queen of the Ring. I understand there was a Queen's Crown, but they didn't call it Queen of the Ring. I think this is the very first one in this current format. But tell me the last time they took the King of the Ring tournament this seriously. Now, they always bring up the winners of the past, Triple H, right? You got Stone Cold Steve Austin. They got to bring that one up every time, that Austin 316 was born a King of the Ring. We know this, right? In 1996. Which nearly is 30 years ago. How is it even possible? Right? Like in 2 years, it would have been 30 years since Austin 316 was born. How? Time is a thief. So like, okay, 28 years. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing that it's been that long since Austin 316 was born. Just crazy. Oh, boy. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Seems like it's a little bit shorter than normal. Maybe not. It's usually 40-ish minutes is how I roll. And hopefully if you're listening to my show and you're at work, well, get back to work. Make sure your boss ain't watching you, right? You don't want to be driving a forklift listening to me. I don't want to be responsible for any, OSHA violations or workers' comp issues. So make sure you're paying attention. I know a lot of you somehow, for some reason, do listen to me at work, and I help your day go by faster, and that's a good thing. And tomorrow is the mailbag, so if you want to contribute, send in your emails and your voicemails to us. The email is not real, that's my old email, is mailbag@wwepodcast.com, or you can call us. That number's in the mailbag notes of every single Wednesday-ish drop. So every time you see a mailbag, the notes are where you can find the number to call and leave a voicemail if you're interested. Can't promise we'll get to it. The volume lately has been pretty damn high. To be able to just get it into one episode is difficult, but we'll give it our best shot and see if what tomorrow brings. It's been very just trying here. I'm half asleep right now. It's almost midnight. Yeah, got to get to work tomorrow. Get up at 5 o'clock, or really probably 4 o'clock. So sleep's at a minimum, but hey, I hope everyone else is enjoying their morning or day or night, and we will talk tomorrow. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.